Hey there. I do a lot of recording using PreSonus Studio One, and I do a lot of playing on my Yamaha MX61. Now, I've had plenty of success using the MX61 as a controller for PreSonus for the soft synths. What I've had a hard time getting it to do is use as both a controller and a sound source. No matter what I've tried to do, it has not worked using it as both a controller and a sound module. So what I tried yesterday was using a separate keyboard to play things, but yeah, that's fine, but it's still frustrating. So what I'm going to show you is how I figured out how to do it using an external MIDI interface. So I hope this is helpful to somebody. I should mention that this same process would definitely work with an MX49 as well. The only difference between the 49 and the 61 is the number of keys. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to Utility. You see, number 1 in Utility would be General, but down to number 2 is MIDI, okay? I'm using the up and down arrows there to move that. Now, once you're on MIDI, hit the Enter button, and you'll see right now I have it set to MIDI. Now, if it were on USB, for some reason, it will not let me use it as both a controller and a sound source. Everything I've tried, it does not work. So I am instead using MIDI. And you'll see I have my 5-pin DIN cables over there, both in and out. Now, to get out of this, once you've got it, you hit exit once to get back to where it says MIDI under Utility, and then exit again to bring you back to your home page. This is an old M Audio MIDI Sport Uno, or MIDI Sport 1x1, but I believe somewhere on here it says Uno or something. Maybe it's just on the packaging. But what this is it's an external USB MIDI interface. This particular one is 1x1. This is an easier method to do if you just want to use this one keyboard to use as a controller and as a sound source in Studio One. But I'm going to be using this. This is by Motu, M-O-T-U, and it's the fast lane USB. And the reason I'm using this one is because I have 2 different keyboards that I want to use to control. If I'm using piano sounds or electric piano sounds, I like to have 88 note weighted. If I'm using organ or synth sounds, I like to use the light action of the MX61. Now, from the documentation of PreSonus Studio One, and as of today, this is June 12th, 2020. You see that I have version 4.6.2.5879, and it's the Windows 64-bit version. That was released on June 3rd of 2020, a week and 2 days ago. I'm going to show you what you want to do here. Go under Studio One, Options, External Devices, and then Add. When you have Add, you're going to notice over here they make a distinction between a new keyboard and a new instrument. Now, they have decided that they're using the word keyboard to mean any kind of MIDI controller. I don't know why they just didn't say controller, but and an instrument is a sound source. So what you have to do is you have to create the MX61 as an instrument. Okay, and what you want to do, actually, I'm going to start with how I did the USB interfaces. We'll talk about the UMC for not the UMC. I'm sorry. I have a UMC 404 HD as my audio interface, and that also has built in, but I'm using that with my MIDI drums right now. real quick, while I'm mentioning my audio interface with built-in MIDI, you don't have to buy an external MIDI device if you've already got that. I have the UMC, the Behringer UMC 404 HD, which has actual 5-pin DIN MIDI cable in and out on the back, and I could use that for all of this. But I know a lot of people have interfaces that don't have MIDI integrated, and that's why I'm doing this. So just check to see if you've got that before you spend more money on an external MIDI interface, because you're also going to have to spend the money on the MIDI cables and stuff, and it piles up. I'll talk about the fast lane. See, what I did with my fast lane is I set that up as a keyboard, okay? Because it's what is going in with the controlling things. And then, so I have two different ones. I set it up, because it's a 2-port one, I did it for a fast lane port A and fast lane port B. So I set that up twice. Okay, then I took the MX61. I didn't know if it was going to work for both keyboards, so I did this. This was the one that I set up as an instrument. And when it asks you for the manufacturer, okay, so you got keyboard, that's where you do the interface, and then instrument, this is where we're doing the MX61. Manufacturer, just type in Yamaha, and then device name, you can type in whatever you want. And then you're gonna have to set it up to receive from one of the MIDI ports that you already have in here. Now the problem is, if you try to do it with the MX61, it won't show up. For some reason or another, with the MX61 as a controller, it doesn't work. So I'm gonna just go okay to get out of here. You see that I've already got it set up, that I've got the fast lane port A, and you see that kind of icon? That's what the device that's controlling things, that's the keyboard thing. So both of these things are keyboard for the MIDI interface. And then you see, oh, gotta remove that. The MX61B and the MX61A, those both have that different icon that is the instrument. All right, so I'm closing that out. So now what you'll notice up here is when you do right click and then create a new instrument track. Where is it? Add instrument track. Watch, add instrument track. All right, I'm gonna remove that. Just trying to declutter it a bit for you. Okay, so I just added that. Now I can do 61A or 61B. It doesn't really matter at this point. Whatever you called it is good. Okay, then you double click on this and see that this thing comes up. And over here on this side of that, you have to select the fast lane USB or whatever you're using for your MIDI interface. So now, you would hear it if you had headphones on, but if you want to actually hear it through your system, you also have to create an audio track. Okay, now I have it going in through 3 and 4. You may have to add audio setup, but see how I have it going through my UMC in tracks 3 and 4? That over there. Now, and then you hit record on this. Now, if you're actually playing it from the MX61, you're gonna wanna turn off that. That is monitor. Because it's coming through another track to monitor, you don't wanna double monitor it. Okay, but because this only applies to people who are hooking up 2 different controllers. You see, I can play this keyboard and it shows that there's MIDI data coming in on that instrument track, but you do have to hit the monitor for it to work. I'm not a MIDI genius, so I don't know why all of this is happening. I'm just telling you that it is happening. So if you just had like the 1x1 that I was using before, you could just switch the cable in and out whenever you want to use it. And it'll just be listed as whatever the name of the interface is. Okay, so what we've got there is that we've got the MX61 as an instrument, and then setting that to make sure that your interface is set as the correct input. And then if you want to hear it through the system, you got to create another track, and an audio track, and do it in stereo if you're plugged in stereo. Now watch, if I hit record right now, what you're going to see is it's going to record both audio and MIDI data. Okay, I intentionally made some mistakes there. Now watch. If you like most of it, delete the audio, go back to the beginning and play it. Still there, but then you can go back and fix the MIDI, whether you want to quantize it or whatever you want to do to it. Double click on that. You can move these different things around if you want to in the piano roll there. But then once you get it fixed to your liking, then turn off the record up here. You can turn it off anytime actually, but so it'll still play here. Because what you're hearing is it going into the audio there. So I'm just going to quantize it. It's going to sound terrible right now, so because it's not going to take the triplets, but okay. Now you can see right there, it's where two notes were together. So I double click one, and it doesn't have that anymore. Okay. So when you're ready, you've got everything the way you want it. Just go back to the beginning, arm the audio track for record, hit record. Okay, so when you play it back now, mute that. So there you have the actual recorded stereo audio track. And that way, the reason I'm doing this, look, I mean, I have a significant number of synths over there, of soft synths, but every one of them is going to take up more CPU. Every one of them is going to take up more RAM. So, and the more of those things that you tend to get in there, you get the clicks and the pops with the audio, because you're draining system resources. So I'm trying to get the sounds that are great of the MX61, be able to use MIDI, and be able to get the audio of it without losing anything. I hope that was helpful to someone. I know it wasn't the most organized video I've ever done, but I hope that helps. Because I didn't have anybody helping me, so I'm just trying to spare you the pain and aggravation that I felt. God bless you.
One last little thing I want to add. Once you've set up the MX61 as an instrument, it will also be available to use as a controller for soft synths, other soft synths. It doesn't appear as a controller for itself, but it'll appear for any other instrument. Weird, huh? So, hope that helps. God bless again.